this, but all right.
Thanks, David. All right. So really excited to welcome you all as we embark on this journey into the crazy world of AI and marketing. So my name is Nichola Quail, founder of Insights Exchange, and I'm based in Sydney. And I'm part of the founding team of AIMG APAC alongside Daksh Sharma, Anadi Sharma from India, and Sushmita Mohapatra in Singapore. So we'll introduce ourselves properly at the end of the session and share more about how you can get involved in the APAC community. Now, before I introduce our amazing guest speaker, David Berkowitz, I want to share just a brief overview of AIMG APAC and why we're here. So the AI Marketers Guild was founded by David and now has over 1,000 members across North America and beyond. And the goal is to empower and educate marketing professionals in all things AI. So David's done this through in-person workshops, meetups, webinars, and professional development courses. And we approached David about a collaboration, and because we loved what he was doing and looking at expanding the guild to this part of the world. And here we are. It's a unique opportunity for us to showcase some of the incredible AI tools and learn from world-class AI and marketing experts emerging across this region, as well as gain real-time insight from APAC marketing peers in our time zone. So today we have the privilege of David joining us live from New York. And needless to say, he's probably had a couple of coffees because it's pretty late there. So thank you, David. So David is not only the founder of AI Marketers Guild, but also the serial marketers community, which has over 4,000 members and is an extremely highly experienced media and technology marketer. So David's going to be taking us through some of the key observations and trends that are emerging in the AI marketing landscape. So I'm now going to hand you over to David, and welcome.
Thank you. I mean, this is such a treat, and it's incredible to see everyone coming in from, I'd love to even hear from where in the world you're joining from. Obviously, APAC is not just a big region, but the biggest. So if you do want to put into the chat where you're coming in from here, love to just find out, and just thrilled to have this incredible team who just wants to build this and expand on it and adapt it to new markets, and really just a dream come true as someone who's been community building for a while. I'm going to share a very brief roundup of some thought starters and a bit of inspiration for some of the topics that I'm seeing from my perch. What I'm way more excited about is that I want to learn from all of you. I mean, this is what really gets me going. We do weekly calls on a more US-based time zone, and you're all welcome to join those if ever time allows. But we actually do post all those on our YouTube channel too. We can share the links in the chat. But what really drives me to just keep spending more time on this is I get to learn from some of the best practitioners in the business across agencies and brands and tech and research and press and consultants. And so the more I can understand how things apply to different markets, what doesn't work in some places, then I think we'll all just get to expand our thinking better. So I'll share a few slides this whatever time of day this is for all of us, and just also have to give a plug to one of my favorite tools, Ideogram. Midjourney, as much time as I spend in AI, like Midjourney is a little much for me, let alone the Adobe tools, but Ideogram's just a lot of fun. And with about 2 minutes of prompting, I was able to get what seems like a very impressive conference. If we all get to be together in person someday, which would be another dream come true. I'd also like to share that I am a published author on Amazon. This is the book that is featured here, but I gotta say, I don't recommend reading it. Please don't buy this book. It is the about 8 millionth bestseller. I don't know how many books actually rank below mine, but I do have a claim to fame that AI, it's not really a claim to fame because I'm sure I'm not the only one doing it, unfortunately, but AI did write every word of this 150-page book. And so it's just used a tool called Omniscience. Again, I don't recommend you do this, but I did have to see if I could take it all the way. AI designed the cover, the blurb, everything about it. It's I put up maybe like a deck or something that I'd done for AI Marketers Guild, said, just write a book about AI for marketing. And it did. And it's just crazy what can be done, which is, there's some differences between that and what should be done. So yeah, this shouldn't be too surprising here, just seeing the explosive growth in Gen AI users for a term that for most of the world did not exist before November 2022. And now this is just looking at the US market alone here from eMarketer, but just see how it's reaching this massive share of the population, which almost feels like it could be an underestimation for how fast it's spreading and where we are today. One of the things that I'm fascinated by, and I am actually writing a real book about AI, which makes this one a little more embarrassing. This is one of those things that I've been digging into more, and that there's a fair amount of data now. The failure rate for AI projects is significantly higher than it is for other projects, and there's some great takeaways from Rand Corporation and other researchers studying this about how to mitigate this and prevent your case study from being in the failure pile. But to me, the one thing that gives me hope here is that my gut is that there's so much experimentation right now, and a lot of experimentation should lead to more failure. We're again, like, we're not even 2 years into the generative AI era. Yes, AI has been around for a while before, but this is now just this torrent of activity. It's exciting, and so while there are a lot of things that on the surface, like, oh, like why is a brand doing this, or this looks so dumb, I'm like I think this is the time to applaud all of it, right? And just see, like, then how do we still learn from that and adapt quickly? But it is a big challenge to keep in mind when trying to sell an idea through, that like, it's like, opening up a restaurant or something like this, and starting a startup. The odds, if you think about it logically, the odds are against you. So how do you try to avoid that? We've actually done a bit of research, and it's admittedly something I want to do way more of. And maybe as we expand our footprint with a Marketers Guild, we can do this even on a more geographic basis. But one of the things that also fascinates me is just, do we need new metrics for AI? I think we'll probably have a lot of very well-informed opinions, especially with a very research and insights driven group that's on this call and helping lead the community. I think here, with some research that we did from our own members earlier this year, this time saved aspect, I was surprised how far and away time saved was compared to the other responses. And I think that also shows that we're in this kind of maybe early adolescence here. We're just trying to grow up a little bit. And so, yes, on one hand, that's good that there's some value, like time savings, in that. On the other hand, I'm not sure that's really what's going to be able to sell AI projects in and get approval for this. And I was I was doing actually I was moderating a panel in Atlanta, Georgia, just last week about this, and this was a very hot topic of conversation, and some of the other speakers were very passionate about like no, like do not look at time saved as your metric, and I feel like this is just part of that learning curve that we're in. When looking at some of the other data out there, it's like as high a failure rate as there is, most marketers do tend to believe that incorporating AI is a must right now. And so I think most of us are trying to figure out not whether to do this, but what are the right ways. And the right ways are manifold, because whatever your job is, it's safe to say that AI can play a role in literally whatever you're doing. There's the idea of a whole new dynamic web, I think is very exciting. I think it's very daunting. I think that we should see this as a double-edged sword, something that has both a lot of pros and cons to it. If we just the idea that like every website sort of becomes a version of what we're used to on things like social news feeds, where all of us see a different version. There are some potentially promising effects of this when it comes to just very, very targeted, personalized marketing and messaging. I think there are some downsides too. I mean, and I say this from the point of view of an American who's now witnessing a yet another very contentious, divisive, polarizing election now, and I think that on a lot of levels it's like where if we're all in our own little bubbles here and only seeing what algorithms want to show us and believe that we want to see, then there are some downsides and consequences with this, and it's why I think that events like the Olympics and the World Cup, and in the US, an event like the Super Bowl, just keep getting bigger and bigger, beyond the wonderful job that France did hosting this year. I've never watched so much Olympics coverage in my life, but it's also that I can talk about the Olympics with everyone on this call and see a lot of heads nodding, and you're all thinking about your favorite Olympics moments right now, and we might have been rooting for some different teams, but we're really all just rooting for the athletes, and just taking a lot of great pride in the amount of global talent out there. And so this might be a little more poetic than a typical AI talk, but I think that there is something real, because so much of what we need to see in AI is like, okay, what makes us human, right? And then what can we relegate to AI? That also leads to AI agents, and talk about Pandora's box here of what we're unleashing. I have this chart here from a wonderful thought leader and friend of mine, Jeremiah Ouyang, and he'll be a guest, at least in the US series this December, talking about AI agents, and this idea that we have these bots on our behalf. Microsoft just made an announcement this week rolling this out further with their Copilot technology, and so having these agents, what does this mean for marketers, right? Like, what does it mean when we're marketing to bots instead of people? We have some experience with that too, because you look at programmatic advertising, okay, very bot-based. You look at search engine optimization. How much of your SEO work is marketing to the web crawler, not to the human? And so some of this is going to be a radical difference, some of it won't be, and it'll be fascinating, even with how is SEO changing and how is it not? Because if you've done things like Search GPT and other equivalents, then you see that a lot of the things that are feeding the recommendations are also the top so-called organic search results, or organic can still be a term given how much people pay to get on the first proverbial page when there might not even be an actual page, and it's just an infinite scroll. So even the language, I think, is going to have to adapt. So there is the most important word with AI, with everything that we're talking about, whether something's coming to fruition, whether it's going to affect your job. And I'm sorry, there's an error on this slide. It is not Yeti. I apologize. I really should have corrected that sooner. The most important word that I keep turning back to, and I think we can't avoid any conversation about this, is yet. And this is so anything that, was, there's a version of the AIMG APAC image with someone with 4 fingers on their hand, that where it should have been 5. It wasn't like one was missing, and so it's. But we're mostly at the point where most of these image generators can actually fix that. But a year ago, everyone's like, "Oh, AI, like it can't get hands right." Well, just like, and then a few weeks later, Midjourney and some of the better engines started fixing that, right? Like, AI won't be able to totally dynamically serve this or do this person's job. Well, let's give it just a little bit more time, and it might take a week or it might take a few years, but we just have to be prepared for so much that is possible, both the positive and negative. Now, with that, I do want to just close my remarks with a guest speaker that I'm going to bring on and share a few thoughts here. Let's go and, oh, wow. That's kind of familiar. Let's hear what he has to say. AI Insiders APAC event. As the AI avatar of AIMG founder David Berkowitz, I couldn't be more excited to kick things off as we bring the AI Marketers Guild to the vibrant, fast-moving Asia-Pacific region. Today is all about connecting the brightest minds in AI marketing across India, Southeast Asia, Australia, and New Zealand. We've got cutting-edge trends, brilliant speakers, and a lot of exciting insights on how AI is transforming marketing here in ways you can't even imagine. So buckle up for some high-energy discussions, fresh ideas, and an amazing opportunity to connect with fellow innovators. Let's dive in and make this an unforgettable start. And yes, I did use AI not just to create this, but on the app HeyGen, as you see in the corner there's that logo, but also used ChatGPT to write the script for this based on the event description. So, but it is just wild to see where AI is going. And yeah, glad to go and yeah, just see what discussion ensues here and turn over the mic.
Thanks a lot, David. Some amazing insights. And in the interest of time, I'll quickly jump to the questions. I can see one that's come from Gareth. So I'll read that up. And Gareth, if you want to unmute yourself, feel free to chip in. But Gareth is essentially asking, do you have a point of view on work being done to edit websites? And from a point of view of SEO, which actually moves to agents answering on the SEO front. So what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I think that we have somewhat of this this kind of like, cat and mouse game as part of this here, right? And this is something we're very used to on the SEO front, where you have people who are always like trying to push things to their limits, and then Google especially trying to see like, okay, like what rules need to change here, like how much can it detect AI generated content, will it penalize publishers of this? You see some examples, and this definitely comes up on some social platforms these days, where it's like someone's like, in like a 1 week I generated 1 million more hits from my website because I created these 5,000 AI articles, things like this, and so so I think that like some of this is what is in the best interest of your brand, your client, your employer. Sometimes it might be pushing the limits, right? And so it's like, if your job's to get page views at all costs, then I'm not gonna go and sit in some like a seat of judgment here. But also with the idea that there could be penalties for just especially if some of the rules change. Now, as we get into AI agents in particular, right? Like these are coming, these agent, Google, Microsoft, so many of the leading players around the world want to be in the agent business. So it's like, how do they not rig things in their favor too? There are going to be so many things to watch here. I mean, what happens to so many kinds of publishers if humans don't actually need to go to them? And one of my favorite examples I turn to, and then I'll stop, is if you look at like recipe sites. My daughter and I, we use ChatGPT now for recipes. It's great because you can customize it to the ingredients we have. We can change the we can change the serving size. I don't like avocado. Okay, like we can make sure that it doesn't include that, right? Like I can't do that if I go to someone's recipe site, or I have to figure that all out separately. So here AI makes things really wonderful for me, but I'm cutting out so many different players in the middle here, from publishers and ad servers and everyone else that's benefiting from it. And like what happens to them, right? Like is this just going to have a decimating effect, especially on some of the smaller publishers that are so SEO reliant? Like I think it's going to be in a scary position to be in.
That's awesome, David. So I think we take one more. I know you want to hit the bed soon. So this is actually from my good friend Ishan. Ishan, why don't you unmute yourself and just shoot the question?
Hey, David, thank you so much for doing this. It's been a great insight, but very quickly. So where we're facing a challenge, and we're running a platform that's called LeaderX. So it's about personal branding for leaders. If you want to project, how do you write better LinkedIn posts, etc. And one of the challenges that we face is trust in AI. That how do I trust the content over here? While we ensure that there is source validation, etc. One of the ways we've discovered is to add a human in the loop. But for a tech product, that becomes a challenge. So how does one overcome the trust conversation? And it's a question for the larger group as well around AI.
Yeah, well, it's one that that I can't wait to hear others take on. It's so, because like there are also some fields that people are working on where there is zero room for error, right? Like a financial services institution can't give wrong information about some just real-time financial activity. The healthcare industry, of course, I mean, you like there's no room to make mistakes here, and things like just have to have just proper education that this is not a diagnosis. Even here in New York City, there was a great experiment from the city not too long ago to have an AI portal specifically for businesses to answer all these questions, but it was getting basic information wrong. And this is something that, like, I mean, I heard from a lot of people deep in AI around them that it was just, they failed to even just test it on the most basic level before rolling this out. I mean, anyone in this room could probably have broken that. But you think, like, if someone is trying to access your local government services, or then this can make a huge difference in someone's life, whether they can or can't, especially if they're given wrong information and then 3 months later the form comes back rejected because AI told you to do the wrong thing and you've been like waiting on this to start your business, right? Like so there could be devastating effects. So yeah, and I mean, I've seen some tech companies go and say, well, like, we're incorporating multiple LLMs and kind of like reviewing them against each other and doing all of the else, how you make things foolproof enough while depending on the field, maybe allowing some room for error and saying like, here and some of what AI engines and the LLMs are starting to do best is show their homework, right? Like it's like and show how they got to something, where the original sources are. And what we also need, I think, is more the media literacy on the consumer side to go and say, wait, like, where's this coming from, and why, and how are you getting this information? And but it's important for all of us.
Well, that is awesome. And as we are speaking, we almost hit the 50-member mark as well. So David, thank you so much once again. But before you go, we'll probably take a picture of everyone in the group.
Oh yeah, well,
so for those of you who are on the camera, yes.
Yeah, and I'll stop the share, but we could just do at least a plug midway through for this to make sure.
Oh,
that,
absolutely. Yeah,
while we have the slide handy, just to.
Yeah, so this is the link for everyone to sort of join the community. So you could scan the QR code and you can join the community using the QR code before David goes off. And we would love to know your opinions on how you would like to stay in touch. So you can send us some message on the chat in terms of how you'd like to connect with us. And we would be doing a follow-up session soon, and we're working towards that. So with that, I think we'll do a quick introduction. And David, thank you so much once again for your time. We'll let you sleep.
Well, yeah, thank you for being here. This is way more fun than I normally have at around 1 a.m. my time. So, but yeah, I am excited to just keep getting to learn from this amazing group.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks, David.
Nichola, you want to do quick introductions for the team before we wrap up the session?
So thank you all. So we're just going to introduce ourselves. So you've kind of got faces to the names and the communications that will be coming out over the next couple of weeks for not only community events. Obviously, we're going to be hosting regional meetups and then our monthly speaker series. So I'm Nichola Quail, founder of Insights Exchange based in Sydney. So we're a global market research company that well, our base is human research, but we use a lot of AI tools and augmented by AI to make us go faster, more efficient, and yeah, take human insights into the virtual world. So really excited about being part of this community. Daksh, I'll hand to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nichola. So I'm the co-founder at iFoot.ai, and we do a lot of work, including some of the questions that were asked earlier. So if you're looking at AI transformation, and specifically, if you want to sort of get into conversation with AI, we would love to sort of have a chat. And over to Sushmita.
Hi, I'm Sushmita. Please don't mind the throat. I've just come. I'm just recovering from a bad tonsillitis infection. So I'm based in Singapore, super excited to get connected. I'm a seasoned marketer. So the very idea of getting AIMG to Southeast Asia and to Singapore was to get all marketing brains in the region to start getting equipped with AI. So excited to be here, excited to have this cross-country collaboration. As David mentioned, APAC is huge. So we hope to make the most of all our experiences here. Passing on to Anadi.
Hi everyone, I am Anadi Sharma. I am from India. I have more than a decade experience in marketing, and I am just like you, struggling to get AI in my marketing mix. I hope by the end of few sessions, we all will just cull out some insights that will add a lot of value to our marketing mix. Looking forward to meeting more and more people just like you and solving and making marketing better for all of you. Welcome everyone.
And then Helen, I know you didn't want to, but introduce yourself because everyone will be hearing from you.
Hello, I'm Helen. I also work with Nichola at Insights Exchange.
And yes, I'm really looking forward to being part of this group and starting this community. So if you do get a chance to put in your preferences in the chat, once we've got all your names from the registration, we'll start the community, and so we'll be able to be in touch much more frequently with sharing ideas, and then setting up the next webinar for next month.
Yes, and Helen is the real doer in the group, doing all the heavy lifting.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's it from us, isn't it, team?
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
No, it was brilliant.
Thank
We
you.
hit the 50, so
Thank you.
really excited, and see you next month. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.